All right. Happy Wednesday, friends. Don't mind me. I have a sweat rag here. I'm not even joking. It's like a sauna over here in Tennessee. Okay, anyways, tonight we have like a hot seat call, kind of modeling it after the Team Fight to Finish call on Monday. If you were on that, I just love the way that they did everything. So we have a special guest on here, Vic and Ashley. And if you don't know who they are amazing. Vic is one of Carly's personally sponsored coaches, and Ashley is Vic's personally sponsored coach. And they're just like, they are success partners and they like work together so well. So I'm gonna first pull up a few stats about them that they gave me. But aside from like being on Team Root Your Eyes and being a part of that, I'm like just so impressed with them because I feel like they have truly like stepped outside of Team Root Your Eyes and like made a name for themselves and like their own teams. And it's just like obvious from how successful they both are and how successful their teams are doing. So anyways, starting with Vic, she is a lifetime 1-star diamond coach, and this month officially she will be 24 months of Success Club 5, which I think makes you a Success Club legend. So that's really, really exciting. Yay. And she started 2 years ago this month, which is just crazy because like how successful she is, I feel like that's like no time at all. Like I've been doing this for 3 years, like coming up on my 4th year, and I'm just like blown away. Like from the day she signed up, I was like, who is this chick? And then Ashley started in October of 2018, 1 month shy of being a Success Club All-Star. So that's 1 year full of hitting Success Club, which is crazy awesome. She's a lifetime diamond. And yeah, she's like Vic's top coach, leader of their team. So I'm going to start like asking them questions now. And then I think you guys can unmute yourselves, but if not, then I can just unmute you. Okay, so first question, I would love for each of you guys to just share a little bit of your story, like who you are, why you joined Beachbody originally, and how it has changed your life.
I'll go first. Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay, cool. So my name is Ashley, obviously. Why I started Beachbody. So I'm going to try and make this short because I have like a long story leading up to how I came to Beachbody, but essentially I had deleted Instagram for 2 years. So I was off of social media for 2 years just because I was just using it in the wrong way. And prior to leaving Instagram, I was following Carly, and I found her through yoga posts. I was really into yoga at the time. This was before I got married and got pregnant. Was really into yoga, wanted to be a yogi. I found Carly through some yoga posts, and she was local to me. I live in Washington. And so I followed her, and then I left Instagram for 2 years. I came back to Instagram after getting married, after having a baby, and I logged into my same account. And Carly, I was still following her, obviously, and she was posting about this coaching stuff now. And I was like, what in the world is this? I remembered her in her yoga post, and now all of a sudden she was like working from Wi-Fi and coffee shops and was fucking ripped. Like, okay. And so instantly sparked my curiosity. I was at that point probably like 6 months postpartum. So I was definitely like interested in fitness. So it was kind of like, leading up to this as well, I was feeling really lost. Postpartum depression was starting to sink in. And honestly, and this sounds so cliche, but this is like my story. Like I was praying to God for something. Like I need something. I need some passion. Like motherhood wasn't fulfilling me how I thought it would. And I was just desperate for something that was my own as a mom. And, you know, I logged back into Instagram, found Carly, and that's where it really sparked that like, okay, I'm interested in this. However, and this is my truth, Carly is not my person. We have nothing in common besides the fact that now we both love Beachbody, but she wasn't married. She wasn't a mom. She could work from coffee shops and I couldn't. And I found myself finding all of these excuses as to why I couldn't be her and why I couldn't do what she was doing because we don't relate. So I followed her for a little bit, and then she hosted her first, I think it was her first team retreat. And I was obviously stalking everything all of you guys were doing, like watching everybody's story who was there. And that's when I found Vic. And Vic wasn't a mom either at the time. But there's just something about her that I liked. I liked how chill she was. I liked how just like straightforward she was. And ultimately she was nursing still at the time. So she was working these crazy long shifts. And so if I could see her working a 12-hour shift and working out and making coaching possible, that was more relatable to me as a mom, right? So I ended up signing up with Vic. And so that's kind of my story leading up to finding Beachbody. And ultimately, like I briefly mentioned, the reason why was just because I was depressed. Postpartum depression is nasty, and I just knew that I needed something, and I was just kind of desperate to try anything to feel a little bit of myself again and to find myself. And it just happened to be fitness that, like, you know, these series of events happened, and I signed up and I dove right into the programs because I wanted to feel better physically, but then I also saw whatever this coaching thing was. I literally had no idea what Carly did, but I loved how she talked about it, and I loved this life she was living, and I dove into coaching right off the bat. Very naively, I didn't, again, know what I was getting into, but it was something that I knew I wanted to be a part of, and so I just dove in, and here I am now, almost 2 years later. So, and I'm a completely different person. I've like found myself, I found my confidence. Like, I feel like I am Ashley aside from being Forrest's mom. And like, I dyed my hair blue at one point. Like, I'm thriving. So that's my story.
I love it. Vic, you can just go whenever.
Okay, so I started, I signed up as a coach 2 years ago, but I started doing Beachbody programs a year and a half prior to that. Carly and I went to WSU together. We were in the same sorority, and she was actually my big. And so that's kind of, obviously I knew her. And I had just had my wedding in July of 2016. And Carly was at that. So I was like, we kind of lost touch a little bit, but then she came to my wedding. And so I just started following her more on Instagram and saw that she was doing all these workouts. I had done like gone to the gym and bar method and all of those kind of things throughout nursing school. But I had just graduated from nursing school and started nursing, and I was watching Carly, but it was one of those things where like I would watch her and get like annoyed and stop watching because I was like, I'm not doing anything and she's working out. And it just like, I basically I figured out exactly what she was doing and signed up for it, but didn't sign up for it under her. And I didn't tell her that I was doing it. I think one time I was like, oh, are you doing Insanity Max 30? Like, I think I'm doing that too. Like, totally knew that. Anyways. But then she asked if I like wanted to be in a challenge group with her without even having me switch to be under her as a coach. She was just being really nice about it. She swears that she asked me to coach multiple times, but I swear she never said anything about it. But anyways, I got to this point where we did 80-day obsession live. And after that, I was like, oh my gosh, I love Beachbody. And I was doing it with my best friend Kaylee at the time. Like, we both agreed to wake up at 4 a.m. and do it, yada, yada, yada. Anyway, so after that, I think I had people just start asking me, like, what workouts are you doing and all of those kind of things. And I actually helped a friend get signed up, and I went to her house and I was like, these are the supplements I'm doing. And none of them were Beachbody, but I just like gave her samples of everything and like helped her sign up with Beachbody. And then I left her house and I was like, I totally could have just like got paid for what I just did. Why am I not being a coach? And the only reason coaching was in my mind was just from seeing Carly do it. But it was never something that like I thought about until that moment that I helped her and like how much fun I was having helping her do it. And so I was at work in the NICU, like in between cares, and got on Beachbody's website and figured out how to sign up as a coach. And I texted Carly and I was like, hey, what's your coach ID? I'm going to like sign up as a coach under you. So it was like her easiest SC points ever. And I picked a challenge or a completion pack without her even knowing. And anyways, so that's how I started coaching. But just as far as why I wanted to like work out and stuff, it all had to do with wanting my self-confidence back. And just throughout nursing school and all that, I just felt like crap, and we had just had our wedding. Like, I never did any sweating for the wedding or anything like that. I felt like I looked fine, but it just got to a point where I wasn't confident with myself, and I knew that I needed something that was going to be consistent with my crazy nursing shifts and 12-hour shifts and all of that. So that's really how I got into coaching. Is that good? Okay.
Yes, so good. I think it's so funny because, like, same thing with me. Carly always tells the story that she's gonna watch this and just like crack up, but she always tells the story that she invited me, that I asked her about like her workouts and stuff, but I had no clue that she was even doing workouts. I just like thought she was cool and like yogi, and so I was like, I want to be your friend. Oh, anyways, okay. So number 2 question. What was the shift that caused you to hit Success Club consistently in the beginning of your journey? Like whenever that was, I don't know if you guys started hitting it like from day 1 or not. So yeah.
Yeah, so for me, I signed up, I think it was like the last day of September of 2018. It was like September 30th of 2018. And like I mentioned, I knew right off the bat coaching was something I wanted to do, even though I didn't know what it entailed. So I signed up September of like 30th, 2018. I don't think I started, Vic was running another Lift 4 group. So it was like her second, Lift 4 had just released and she was doing a second round of it. And so I was waiting for the start date of that challenge group. And I think it was like the second week in October. So I had officially started coaching like the second week of October of 2018. And I hopped on some calls. Like I did the prep course. I watched some trainings. And again, just very naively was just kind of like trying to find my footwork in it and like, what is this? What am I doing? What's an invite? And I think I started messaging people in September, like right off the bat, before I think I even posted a workout clip. And then it wasn't until January of 2019 that I was like, okay, I'm doing this. Like I hear everybody telling me that I need to hit Success Club. So like, I'm going to do that. You hear it all the time. Success leaves clues. Like just listen to the freaking people and do it. So for me, it was literally as simple as making a decision. Like I heard it and I knew that like, this is something I wanted. And so I made the decision that I was going to hit Success Club every single month. So that was January of 2019. And I am not a Success Club all-star legend or whatever yet. So funny story. What was it, Vic? Like, was it November? Yeah, November. Here's long story short. I went to a Post Malone concert, best night of my life, but it really messed me up in the head because I went through like a really brief identity crisis. My hair was blue at the time, which was like great. I was loving it, but I went to this Post Malone concert and like all of these postpartum feelings flooded back of like, I miss my old life. I miss being able to go to concerts. And like, I literally took a trip to Spokane to visit Vic because Colby's like, you need to go like recenter yourself. So like, I just went through this weird time in November and I was at SC4 and I dragged my feet all month. And like, after I left Vic's, I went and visited her like the 25th of the month. When I came home, I was like busting my ass because I was like, you're not going to let this fall through the cracks. You're literally like 1 month short. And at the time it was the rolling suitcase, the white rolling suitcase. And I wanted that thing so freaking bad. And I stayed up till like midnight. I sent out a share card, thought the girl was going to sign up and she didn't. And I lost my SC-ness. So started over. Came back strong. I definitely threw myself a pity party. But December I hit it and I've hit it ever since. And I'm gunning for 10, SC10. And I've hit it every month since, but definitely derailed me. But yeah, for me, aside from that weird month, it was literally just a decision. And I know that sounds like, well, no, like I need more, I need tips, I need advice, but like, it's literally a mindset thing. It's all, sorry, my mom is trying to FaceTime me. That's so rude. I told her 6:30. But it's literally a decision. Your perspective, I have notes here that I'm reading off of. Your perspective finds what it's looking for. And if you're in your head that Success Club is hard and that I can't do it or finding people is hard, no one has the money, no one's blah, 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 blah. Like what you are telling yourself is what you're finding. This is something that somebody said on a team call once that like really stuck with me. Your yeses are out there. Like they're just waiting for you and you just have to find them. And you might have to go through a million no's, but your yeses are out there and your mindset is going to find what it's looking for. So if you're looking for your Success Club points, they're out there. And I think Vic, I don't know if you did this in Team Root to Rise, but you went live talking about like your tips lately of how you've been hitting Success Club. And one thing you mentioned was the mindset switch of looking at numbers as opposed to people. And that's something that's been really helpful for me too, is like, I'm not trying to hit SC6. I'm trying to see how many people I can help in a month. So yeah, it's just a decision. That's all.
I think that was in October because Ashley like took a week break off of Instagram too in that month that she didn't hit SC. It was a major identity crisis. Okay, so I started hitting SC like the very first month that I signed up, and I only did that because Carly told me that that's what I had to do. And I liked recognition. Like once I did hit it, it was like, wow, people think that this is like crazy that I'm doing it, so I'm just going to keep doing it. But I mean, aside from that, as I started to help people and started to show them the programs and all of that and just saw like how much they loved it, that was really what made me want to continue doing it. But honestly, like in the back of my mind, I remember Carly doing like a one-on-one call with me, and I had no idea what I was getting myself into with coaching. But I remember her saying, like, what are your goals with this? And I was like, I don't know. Like, and I honestly didn't have a goal. So I was like, well, I guess I need to make something up. So I was like, I don't know. It'd be cool if I could go part-time with nursing. Like that sounds like a reasonable goal and something that I could maybe achieve to like supplement part of my income. But it was like the second that I said that and like knew that it was possible to that, then it was almost in the back of my mind. I was like, I don't even want to be like do nursing if I can do this, but I never really like said that out loud or talked about it. It was just something that I've like always thought about, but that really was what kept me going. And I knew that the only way that I could be successful in this is if I was hitting Success Club. Yeah, I'm reading my notes to make sure I didn't miss something. Yeah, that was pretty much it.
I think it's so funny because like Carly did the same thing with me. She asked me like, what is your dream or what do you want with this? And I think it's like when we're new baby coaches, we don't like give ourselves permission to like ask those big questions or like dream those big dreams. But once I started seeing the coaching community and like seeing women out there who are like going after their dream lives and making it a reality, I was like, wait, like I could like actually do this kind of stuff. And so then you're like, okay, like maybe I could, quit my job. And then you gain the confidence in that. I love it. Okay, next question. When you figured all of that out, like how to hit Success Club, that was basically like what makes us successful. And I love that too, because it takes us so long as new coaches to like get around the fact that like this business is so simple. Like it's literally about changing lives. And when you sign somebody up with a challenge pack, like you are providing them the complete solution to do that and your support and accountability. But like as new coaches, we're like, what? Like that's all it is? And so we overcomplicate it and then we're distracted from doing that. But once you figure that out, what was it like making the transition from like emerald rank status as a coach to diamond? Like what was the mindset switch or maybe just action switch that you were doing during that time?
Yeah, so for me, I think it was taking the tracker more seriously because I knew what it was and I printed it off every week and I would do it on Monday and maybe a little on Tuesday and then forget about it on Wednesday. So definitely taking the tracker more seriously. But really, I think the mindset switch that happened was learning and accepting to bleed Beachbody blue. Like, I think I heard Carly talk about that on a call one time, like before like one of the first calls I was ever on. And I don't know why that phrase specifically, but like bleeding Beachbody blue and not being ashamed, not being afraid, and just being like unapologetic about like what you do as a health and fitness coach, like just getting in that mind frame of like, this is what I do, and I'm not going to be ashamed of it. I'm not going to be afraid of it. And I had tiptoed around, again, just trying to find my footing of like, at one point I put my Instagram, because I have it as a business account. I put it as like personal blog at one point, and then I think I put it as like health and fitness wellness site at one point, and just like trying to tiptoe around the fact that like I'm a health and fitness coach and I work for Beachbody and this is what I do and I help people, I run monthly groups, like just kind of wanting to hide that underneath a more general facade, if that makes any sense. And so really stepping into my own and being like, no, like this is what I do, and if you don't like it, it like honestly was a weight lifted off my shoulders, because it's like I don't have to put on a facade. I don't have to make sure I word things a certain way so I don't, have people unfollowing me. Like if you want to unfollow me because you don't like what I'm talking about or what I'm into, that's fine. It's a pressure off of me, and now I can step into my own, and I can, like, people know what they're getting. Like when you come and follow me, you're getting workouts every day. You're watching me pour my pre-workout. You're watching me talk about Shakeology. You're watching me talk about my community of like women. Like this is what you get. And like I mentioned, it takes that pressure off, and you're not like upholding a facade. And then people know what they're getting. Because I always felt, not that I felt fake, but I was afraid on the back end. Like I was putting forth, this thing on the front end. I was afraid on the back end with saying something wrong, with saying something and then realizing what I was really doing, and then being like, oh, I don't want to be a part of that. And it was just, I was approaching everything with fear, and I was timid, and I just wasn't owning it. And for me, it was just stepping into that like ownership of like, this is what I'm doing. And when I did that, it's been a gradual like increase of just finding myself as a coach, finding myself as a leader, and finding my people and my community. And it's just been like, it's just rolled from there. And something that also I just want to share with you guys, which I don't even know if this has anything to do with the question, but I just want to remind you guys, like we are all selling the same shit. We are all selling the same challenge packs. We are all selling the same programs. People are buying you. And so you need to take your like ownership seriously. People don't want like a wish-washy general coach. They are buying you and your personality, what you have to offer them in groups, like your creativeness, like your graphics. Like I know you hear some coaches saying like, don't waste time on those. But like for me, like the creative aspect of this job is everything. Not everything, but is so much of what I love about what we do. And I love putting together the groups and making the graphics, and like people are buying you, and you can't just be another coach. Like when they come across you, like you have to just own who you are and be unapologetic about it. And that definitely comes with time. You're going to go through weird identity crises where you're dyeing your hair blue and you think that that's your thing, but like just keep pushing forward and finding what feels good. And you create a little space for yourself, and you allow yourself to like just step into who you are within this community. And yeah, I'll stop rambling.
Okay, mine is kind of different just because like I signed up and then I hit Emerald and then I hit Diamond like all within 2 months of each other. So I signed up in April, hit Emerald in May, and hit Diamond in June. And it wasn't a shift that I really had to do. It was just doing the same thing of talking about it and inviting to it. But the thing that made it easier for me is that I had like my husband's account and I had my mom's account on opposite legs, so I could control those. So it was all just about like hitting higher SC numbers and making sure that I was onboarding people as discount coaches, because I didn't have anybody at the time that really wanted to grow the business at all. But I mean, I agree with everything that Ashley was saying about it. And I think for me, it was like, I just knew that I would literally post a video and like never go back and look at it. And I would like hope that Mitch never saw it. Mitch is my husband. And I was just like super self-conscious about posting on my Instagram. Like I never wanted to talk about it with people. It was almost like you can go there and like learn about it, but like I don't want to talk to you about it in person, just because it was like such a change. And none of my friends like ever would talk to themselves on their Instagram stories. Like it was just so bizarre that I was doing that, but I kind of just like blocked out, and I would like do it on there and then just like put it away, So that was kind of how I built my business, I guess. But then as I went along, I obviously was like learning more about myself and getting more confident about it just from doing it. So it was definitely a lot of failing forward, and just like I knew I needed to talk about 2B mindset because that's when it came out. So I just talked about it. And if I just went back and showed like Ashley and a couple of our new coaches, like my very first video, and it was just so bad, but I just knew that like I wasn't going to get better if I didn't do it. So I would just go live, and it was so bad. But just, I guess what I'm trying to say is like, don't be afraid and just do it, because you're not going to get good at it unless you are doing all the things. And that the same goes with inviting. Like the more that you invite, the better you'll be at it. At first, I literally sent an email and it was like this long. And my friend Steph was like, Vic, that's like way too long. I can't sort through that. And I was like, okay, that's a good point. So I stopped doing that. But just like everything, you're not going to get better at it until you start doing it. And if you don't do it, obviously you're not going to get good at it. So that's my tip there.
Yeah, you can't let the fear of like what people think, especially like your friends and family who you don't think will support you, like let you, stop you from doing anything. I was the same. Like my videos were horrible and I look back at them and like I had that same fear of like talking to people in person about it. Like I could totally, like I loved the cold market because I was like, I don't know you, like I can just be whoever I want to be to you. But I think that's the cool thing about coaching is it like gives you this opportunity to like step into your power as a human and like share like your own voice. And like for me, growing up, I had 2 older brothers and like our house was really loud. And so like, I never got the chance to share my voice. So I think that's so, so cool. And especially like with your story, Vic, you were just being coachable. Like you had no clue what you were doing, but Carly was telling you and you're like, okay, I'll do that. Okay. Like doing this, doing that. So like, I think that's a huge tip right there is just like be coachable. And I was the same way. I was like, I don't know what the heck this means, but I'm just doing it because she's successful. Like success leaves clues. So I feel like after coaches hit diamond, they always kind of go through this space of like, they've stepped into their power. They've done everything you need to do in the Beachbody business. Like beyond diamond, you're just building diamonds. You're like creating another diamond and teaching your coaches how to hit diamond. And it's all like the business is just diamond, 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 like repeating that. So I feel like personally, like when I hit diamond, you really have to like level up into this new headspace of like, okay, what do I want to create? Like, how do I want to like coach my coaches? What kind of coach am I going to be? Like, I feel like it's like graduating from high school. It's like deciding like, where do I want to go to school? Like, how do I want to live my life? And then in that time from diamond to 1-star, it's almost like, I feel like you go through these ups and downs of like losing your confidence and then gaining it back and losing it. Like you said, Ashley, with like your little blue hair phase. And I think that's because again, like we're just trying to find like who we are and how we want to run this business and kind of like adding our own flair to it. And there can be times when we lose our fire. And that's like what I titled this call. So I wanted to make sure I like wrap that in here. But I feel like especially right when you hit like 1-star or you're pushing to hit 1-star and you really gain traction and like start taking a lot of massive action, that's when like your fire is lit. Like for me, that's when it was lit. And I think it was 2 summers ago, I started hitting like higher SC numbers, 10xing my business. And I feel like that's kind of where like both of you guys are, especially this month and last month, like on the SC board. Vic, you had like SC 30 and Ashley, you had 37. Is that correct? Like correct? Oh my gosh. Like I've never even gotten to 30. So that's amazing. So you've obviously both leveled up. And so with this new season of your business, like what is the mindset shift that helped you level up, and why did you like want to start like helping that many people? Like why did you want to start working that much and taking that much massive action?
Yeah, so for me, it wasn't, and I'm going to be straight up honest with you guys, it was, right now I'm sitting as an emerald coach. I am not currently an active diamond, and I'll get to that in a second, but well, I'll talk about that now. So I was a diamond, and we hosted our first retreat, Vic and I together, of course, because we literally do everything together. We hosted my first emerald retreat together, and at that time I was a diamond, and I have my husband's account who I control, but I had actually 2 emeralds like on each leg. It wasn't just my husband's account and somebody else. So I had 2 emeralds. They came to this retreat. We paid for an Airbnb, we paid for photos, we did gifts, we did t-shirts, like, and at that point I definitely felt like this is it. I'm doing it. I'm on the road to top 10 coach and 6-figure earner, just like I had on my vision board. Like, I'm hosting a retreat. This is amazing. And I kind of felt like I was at that, like, okay, this is where I take off. And that retreat ended, and we went home, and both of my emeralds quit, which was like a slap in the face. And again, definitely threw myself a pity party and found myself questioning, like, okay, like how I have to rebuild, like these are the thoughts in my head. Like, I have to quit. I have to rebuild. Like, how do I do that? It's such a waste of time, such a waste of money. I'm angry. Like, do I ream these people for all the money I just poured into them? And they, like, the audacity, right? Like, and that was really a crossroads for me in my business of like, are you going to keep doing this, or are you going to quit? And I decided, obviously, to keep doing it. And at that point, I feel like I really took ownership for my business. And it was like, my success is not going to fall on anyone else. Like, and it's such a fine line between believing in people and pouring into people, but also keeping that boundary of like, I'm not putting any of my dreams or goals into your hands. Like, I am here for you as a coach, and, you know, we're going to do this together. But if you choose to peace out, like, that doesn't set me back. Obviously it does, right? But like, and so I moved forward with the mind frame of like, I don't need you. And not long after one of the emeralds had quit, she came back and was like, I'm regretting this. She saw me hitting the highest C numbers. She saw me doing the things without her. And I think she was like, oh, like, I thought she really needed me. And so that was kind of a turning point in my business as of recently, because our retreat was in January. And so I'm not a diamond coach currently. The most frustrating part, I have emeralds, but they're not on the right legs. So I'm like about to pop a 1-star, but I'm waiting on like 1 emerald on this leg. But yeah, so for me, it was just really coming upon those like hurdles and making a decision of like, what are you going to do? And those have taught me that, like, moving forward, like, this is my business, and people are going to come and go. It's literally a revolving door. And I had heard people say that. I watched it with Vic. Like, after her first retreat, we popped 3-star. And then we didn't get through quals, and we were back down to 1-star diamond. And I heard everybody talk about the revolving door, and I was like, it's not me. Like, I found my people. They're here. They're at this retreat. That's not going to happen to me. And then it happened to me. And then it was like, well, what are you going to do now? And you move forward, and you're stronger from it. So that happened. And like I said, I really felt like I stepped into my like power in my business after that. And I really started treating this business like a business. And I know that, again, you probably hear that all the time, and I hear it all the time too, but the actions behind that, I'm looking at my notes right now. But when I started treating it like a business, people looked at me and started treating me and what I was doing like a business, like it was serious. I wasn't just another MLMer. I was like something they wanted to be a part of. And ever since doing that, I've literally gotten people messaging me like, I don't know what you're doing, but I want to be a part of it. And like, I think that's just like the affirmation of like, you're doing it right. Like, you treat it like a business, and people will take it seriously like a business. So that, as well as, and I think part of like treating it like a business is loving what you're putting out there. And again, this is something Vic talked about on her Team Root to Rise live video. But when you love the content that you're putting out there, when you love the resources that you're creating for your challengers and your clients, like when you are so amped and excited about your monthly challenge groups, like that passion bleeds into how you show up on your stories and how you talk about your monthly groups and how you go about inviting people. If you're like genuinely excited about what you're doing, it's going to come across genuine and pumped and hyped on your stories. And so if you're struggling with like just not getting any traction or feeling like people aren't interested, like I would just like encourage you to like reflect and like, do you love what you're creating? Do you love the environment within your groups. And if you don't, like, what can you change there? And so for us, it was like, we have gotten, we were doing the plain Jane challenge groups where we would do a weekly check-in or a daily check-in. And we did that for months and months and months. And then we finally decided to switch it up in January and just like go rogue. Like, we're not going to do any structure in these groups. Like, we want you guys to utilize this group how you want to utilize it, show up how you want, check in how you want, post what you want. And when we kind of released the reins for that month and let people make their own of the group, like, the community bond really came into play and people started interacting with each other more. And so we did that for like 2 months. And then we moved into this month, like, so how we're doing things is we have we're doing a weekly recipe guide. We're doing on Wednesdays, we're doing like a personal development video. On Fridays, we're doing virtual game night. So like, we're incorporating time together aside from like health and fitness, where we can just hang out and be friends, and we get on Zoom and we do trivia together. And then on Saturdays, we're doing, sip and sweats, virtual workouts. And then, Sundays we post our weekly recipes again. And so these are things that we're like so excited about. I've been making these weekly recipe guides and I'm like drooling as I'm making them, and I can't stop sharing screenshots of them because I think they're so beautiful, and like, I just can't stop talking about it. And so when you have content that you love, when you are creating the valuable resources that you love, like, when you think that they're valuable, other people are going to think that they're valuable. And so just encouraging you to like, yes, like hit Success Club, but also take the time to make sure that you're providing value to people, because they are buying you as a coach on top of all the products that they're getting. So yeah.
Okay. She kind of highlighted like the things that I was going to say, but I'm just going to tell a little story about the 3-star quals and then until now. So last January, I did my first Emerald retreat, which is what Ashley went to, and everything. And then we popped 3-star in, I think it was March or something. And then 5 weeks in, we lost 3-star because literally one person wouldn't buy $12 worth of something. Like, it was something so small. And so obviously she quit. And then the other Emerald quit. So those were 2 under Mitch. So now Mitch is back to an Emerald. And then a couple months go by and then one of the Diamonds quit. So we hung out at 2-star for a while, but it was like 2-star on the same leg. And then that Diamond quit. And then at the same time, I was also pregnant. So I was maneuvering like being a health and fitness coach when I'm getting 0 results and I'm just doing the opposite of what every program is supposed to do. And I just I didn't lose my passion for it, but it was just hard. And I also, it being in that season, I wasn't putting as much effort into it. I was still showing up. I still was hitting SC, doing all the things, but I was just going like this and just trying to keep myself in the same spot. And I was still working as a nurse, and anyways, I had way more time than I do now, which is funny. But I want to make sure that I don't miss things. Okay, so then it was basically all limiting beliefs is why I wasn't going anywhere at that point. I held my Diamond. Ashley was holding hers. So we were a 1-star Diamond team throughout all of that. And then after Lane was born, that was in August, so 8 months ago. I pretty much I barely hit SC that month. I had to have my cousin buy something so that I would hit it, but I really wanted that suitcase, so that's why I did that. But anyways, thank God Ashley took over our groups for that whole month of August. Anyways, that's a whole other story. But after that, I realized I don't want to go back to work as a nurse at all. I want to stay home with Lane, and luckily Mitch's job makes it so that I can stay home, and I did end up quitting nursing 3 weeks ago. So it wasn't coaching that allowed me to do that. I just want to say that because I don't want to make people think that that's what happened. But anyways, that desire to never want to go back to nursing is what helped me get back on track. because Mitch always says like, well, you can go back in a couple of years. And I'm like, hell no, I'm not going back like ever. So I have to make sure coaching works. So anyways, once I started being able to work out again, I felt like that passion came back because I felt more like myself and obviously wanting to stay home with Lane. So it was about like probably October when I was like, hey, SC6 like isn't going to cut it. I need to be hitting higher SC numbers because Mitch's kind of diamond like completely fell to pretty much an emerald, and it was just like hardly being able to keep him active as an emerald. So I knew I had to be finding more coaches and hitting higher SC numbers to make that work. So Ashley and I, like, we scheduled our retreat around that time just to try to like get our people to hit emerald at least. And whatever, then we had the retreat and she told you what happened with that. And then it was like probably 2 months ago, Mitch and I just had like a little argument about like me not treating coaching like a business. And I'm like obsessed with coaching. If I could do it for 24 hours a day, like I just love everything that has to do with it. I don't love inviting, but I love talking to people about it. And I love like all the behind the scenes stuff. I feel like I never have enough time to do what I want to be doing, which I think is like perfect. That's what you need to feel to be like a successful coach. But obviously if you have a husband that wants to hang out with you, that's not like the best thing ever. And so anyways, we got in an argument because he said that I was treating it like a hobby, and if I want him to think that when I'm on my phone that I'm doing like work, I need to be treating it like a business. And so at that point I was like, shit, you're like completely right. And I don't treat it like a business at all. Like behind the scenes, I don't treat it like a business. I want it to be, but I'm not. And so tax season came around and I had to do like all of the taxes for last year because I literally did not keep up with it. And as I was doing that, I was like, okay, I think I would like enjoy, doing taxes regularly and actually playing with like, okay, what am I putting my money into? Like, how am I going to use this to make me a better coach and to add value? And it was just fun being able to do that. And it was like right before this whole coronavirus thing came out, I just had an epiphany and I was like, I have like so much passion for this business and like so much fire, but I'm not excited about what I have to offer people like at all. And I just never, I'm sure that all of you feel like this except for a couple of people, where you're like, well, I don't have time to like create anything. Everyone says like, don't do it unless you hit SC. And like, for me, this is literally the first month that I've ever hit SC by like the first week. So like, it was always a month-long thing where I'm just like anxious about it the entire month. But you need to be making things that like you love, and everything that Ashley said is what I was going to say. So I'm glad that you already said that. It's okay to take time and like do things that make you excited, because if you're not going to be excited about it. And I think that you would be so much better as a coach if you did take the time to do things that you enjoy. And I like, everyone says like, I don't know, the 80% on whatever and 10% on creating things and all those percentage differences and stuff. But we're all in quarantine now. So I really took that time to literally like spend days, and Mitch got mad at me again, but I didn't care. I like spent probably like 3 or 4 days straight just like redoing everything. I hated my welcome email. I hated my getting started right guide. I knew that I needed to update like the nutrition stuff because our nutrition like has changed a lot in 2 years and I literally hadn't changed it. What else did I do? Ashley and I like redid all of the challenge groups and stuff. But the funny thing is that Ashley and I never talked about this like new lit fire. It literally happened like without us talking about it, which is I think really cool. And like we still haven't talked about it, so that was my first time even saying it. But like it happened completely separate from each other, which is something that I don't know. I just think that that's really cool. And also just with the way that I'm talking about coaching, I stopped like curating everything to be like perfect. And I just like, I don't care if what I'm saying makes sense. Half the time I'm reading it and I'm like, I don't even know if someone will like understand what I'm trying to say, but I'm just going to post it anyways, because I'm not going to sit here for like 2 hours trying to make it be perfect. I don't have time to do that. And so basically I just make sure that I post every day. I make sure that I obviously post, sorry if you can hear Lane, because he's like freaking out and sometimes it's really loud. But I make sure to like post my workout every day. I make sure to, do everything that the BAT says, but also go in and like whatever I'm feeling passionate about that day, I talk about it, no matter if it goes along with like this week. I feel like I've gone back and forth between like challenge group coaching, but it's just like whatever you're feeling passionate about, just like talk about it, because people want to hear and own it. And I know we always talk about too, what am I thinking of? Like not talking to curiosity marketing. And like, yes, that is good. You shouldn't be like a truly rep and be like that, with if this was Shakeology, like you don't want to do that on your posts. But if you're in your stories and Shakeology happens to go by, or like you're making a shake and you say Shakeology, like I don't think that that's as big of a deal, because people at that point, they're not just seeing like this perfect highlight reel, they're seeing like you, and it's just natural and normal. But like Ashley said too, just as far as like bleeding Beachbody Blue, like I'm not every day saying Beachbody here, Beachbody whatever, but I'm not hiding it either. And I would rather people know that it's Beachbody because of exactly what Ashley was saying. And releasing myself of that has also allowed me to talk more about it and not feel so weird about owning the fact that I'm a coach with them. Like I'm super proud of what Beachbody has to offer and like the company they are. And when you go to a conference, like when Leanna and I went to New Leader, like they are amazing and do so much for you. And like working at the hospital, they don't give a shit about you working out or like, being healthy or anything like that, or encouraging you to like work on your self-growth and like all that kind of stuff. So I just think that it's really cool that this company does that. So like, I mean, you can obviously tell just the passion behind it is what's going to get you there. And if you're not passionate about it, like start doing things that you enjoy with coaching. Like if that's creating recipes, whatever, like stop inviting tonight and like go create a cool recipe list or whatever that you can talk about. And yeah, that's all.
I love that. Oh my gosh, like so many good notes. First thing I just wanted to say is like when you start treating something like a business, I feel like that's totally thrown around all the time and people are like, you gotta treat it like a business. But so often we just say that and we don't talk about what that means. And like for you, Vic, that meant, setting maybe like boundaries or business hours. And like I'm the same way. Like I could do coaching 24 hours a day. And so like for Chad and I, we've totally had that conversation where like if I want to do my business and still be married to him, like I have to get my work done within my blocks of time that I've like communicated with him that are my work hours. Because otherwise, it's just like unfair to him. And it would be the same way if I had like a million other things going on in my life, right? Like we just have to create those boundaries. But I think another thing we never talk about is like, if you were like, I don't know, Katarina's on here and I know you own a business, right? Like, don't you run a dessert company or like you make your own desserts that are vegan or something? That's so cool. But like, if you have a business like that, like it is your baby, like you created that idea, you came up with it, like sprouted in your mind and you like make all the recipes and you take the pictures for it and you are the CEO and founder of that business. And I think with Beachbody, it's a little bit difficult to translate that like type of ownership because we didn't make these products. Like I didn't make Shakeology. I didn't come up with the idea, but like we have to find a way to take that ownership to where it is our baby. So like if that's, making graphics that make your boot camp look like whatever, then awesome. Like for me, every single month, I've heard what, other coaches say on the calls too. And they're like, don't spend time on your graphics. But I'm like, I've got the time. So like, I'm going to spend time on my freaking graphics because they make me feel more like an owner of my own boot camps, and I can pour my passion and my excitement and theme or whatever I'm doing with my boot camp like into my social media, and then I'm even more excited about it because like I came up with the theme and I can invite people and be like, oh, the theme of my boot camp is this, and like they can hear that passion. So I think you really have to like treat it like a business in the sense of like, what if this was your baby? Like, what if you made Shakeology? Like, how would you speak about it differently? How would you share about it differently? Like, I went on my stories the other day and just shared a recipe like of my shake as I was making it, and I'd never made it before. And I was like, I'm throwing turmeric in, like cinnamon, and all this weird stuff. But I got so much engagement with that because I never do that. Like normally I just like take a photo of my shake and I'm like, superfoods, adaptogens, like, a lot of people do. But when I was talking about it and people could hear my passion, they're like, what is that? Like, how can I make something like that? I'm like, girl, like I have all those ingredients in one shake. Like, here you go. So I think that's so important to just like create that ownership, and you kind of have to ask yourself, how am I going to do that? Like, how can I get creative to make it feel like it's actually mine? Okay. So if you guys have any other questions, I think I saw one from Jess. She said, how do you keep the people in your challenge group engaged and showing up?
So I think this ties back really well with just being passionate about and excited about the content that we're creating for them. Like if you're not, and again, you've probably heard this on a team call before, like if you're not excited about the stuff you're posting, then neither are the people in your group. And I think you kind of have to go through that. It's almost like, I wasn't in a sorority, but like Rush, they do that in colleges. Like you almost have to go through this period of sucking and not really liking what you're doing and not really knowing what you're doing or where to go, or like you kind of have to go through those periods and seasons and like beginning time of finding your footing again. And some Vic and I had months where our challenge groups, like we had like 3 people checking in on posts, but we had like 70 people in there. Like you go through those times, but I think like we've found with this month alone that like when we are bringing the passion, like people feel that and they want to be more a part of it. And also just like switching it up. I think our people were getting sick of the same old check-ins, the same old water challenges, the same old like sweaty selfie challenges. And when we got excited about bringing in new content, they got excited about it. And then also just the girls getting to know one another. When we took that month off to really just like let the group be what it was going to be and like kind of put the reins in their hands of like, utilize this how you want. Like we are here. You can expect us to check in every single day. We might pop in live if we have something we want to talk about, but like this is your group. Like make something of it or don't. And then you have nothing to motivate yourself with, right? And when we really did that, people like that's when it went from being an accountability group to a community. And now that we're bringing in this new exciting stuff, they're excited about it, and they're also talking with one another about how excited they are about it. So I think ultimately just knowing that you're going to go through, and you kind of have to go through that time of just like it not being the best, and like you might only have 5 people in it, but like ultimately you can't control them, and you can't control like when they check in or how they feel, but you can control the environment you're creating for them and how you're showing up. And I would just encourage you to start making things that you're excited about. And as for like trying to get them engaged, I've like tagged them in, after I post something, I'll tag them like, oh, Amanda, I haven't seen you today. Or we'll do challenges like, so something we're incorporating this month is like, what did we call it? The pass the positivity. So it's like a pop-in challenge where like, we're going to post, like we want to challenge you guys to, on your social media, post, a picture of you dancing with your pre-workout, tag your coach and tag a friend. And so like ways to get engaged outside of the groups as well helps you in your own business, because hopefully, you're getting people who are going to be like, who's this girl she's tagging? But tagging them within groups, within one another, doing like buddy challenges, but ultimately just creating stuff that you are excited about. and just keep creating the environment. And I promise, like, if you just keep with it, it comes over time. So that's my advice.
And I also think like adding new blood too. That's another thing. Like every month, like hitting Success Club is so helpful because like you get new people in the group, and some people are going to be like freaking amazing and some people are just going to be quiet. And so like find more people.
That's what I was going to say. You can go to the next one.
Sorry, I stole your thunder. Do you want to answer the next one, Vic? She said, where'd it go? How do you get past the embarrassment of posting? Or get them past the embarrassment? Do you mean like coaches or clients? Clients. So like maybe in the challenge group?
Within the group. I don't really force my people. I would say that like 40% of them show up in a challenge group and the rest don't. But I don't force them to do it, but I will ask them like, hey, are you in our group? Knowing that they're in our group. And then they'll be like, yeah. I'm like, well, do you want to post in there? And like, I just figured out this one girl that's a new mom. She was like, well, I'm not doing workouts. I'm just drinking Shakeology. And I was like, then post your drink in there. She still hasn't done it. But I was saying like, you can still post that in there. But I think it's just, I mean, if they don't want to post in there, then just go find new people that want to, because we definitely have like a core group of girls that are like the group that posts all the time. And then like randomly you'll see some like other people. So it's definitely finding new blood if you have people that aren't, but you can say like, you do not need to post a picture. Like you can just type on there or like post a picture of, you know, your screen or something. Like you can tell them like, it doesn't need to be your face or something that you feel embarrassed of. So I think saying that too could also help.
Yeah, I had one lady who was scared to join the group because she's like, I don't feel confident in like posting my own selfie. And I was like, you don't have to, like take a month and just like do your workouts and post, like just, you know, write a little thing and say like, got my workout in. And then after you feel confident, like then start posting. Because I feel like sometimes getting them in the group is just more important. And also like checking in with people individually too. Like, I don't know if you guys like text your clients, but like send them a text, you know, and be like, hey girl, like, how are you doing this week? Haven't seen you in the group, you know, just like keep on them. And if a month goes by and they're still not answering, then like you've done your job. Like you can't help them any further. So I was going to ask another question. We'll probably have like time for like a couple more. I was going to say, what are your end of year goals?
So for me, it is 5-star and elite. Those are like the two. I have other ones, but those are the two that like I have sticky notes around my house. Like I finally did that. I heard everybody else saying to do that. And so I one night wrote on a piece of paper 5-star, and on another piece of paper I wrote elite, and I have some in my bathroom. I have some, Vic can attest, she's been to my house and seen them. Like I have some above my desk. So for me, it's 5-star and elite, and at times, sorry if you can hear Forrest, my son, he's home. But at times it feels very far off still, even just like looking at it every day. But I have a Start Today journal, and I'm sure you guys all know who Rachel Hollis is. And having that and writing, something that I just recently changed within that was, I think I need to remember how she words it, but so if you guys don't know what it looks like, it's just like you write your gratitude every day, and then you have a section to write 10 dreams that she wants you to write them as though you've already made them happen. And it's just like a mental thing that you're doing every day. And I recently started writing them. I went from writing them as like, so for example, the first one is build our dream home. So like that's on my 10 dreams I made happen. And I went from writing them as like build my dream home, be a top 10 coach, to writing them like I built my dream home. I am a top 10 coach. And doing that has been like a nice mental switch too. But yeah, I want to end the year. I will end the year elite and a 5-star coach.
I have the same goals of elite and 5-star. I mean, just some other ones that I feel like are in closer reach, I guess. Like I want to get to where I'm at least making like $1,000 a week with coaching, because that is more on track with nursing. Because my biggest goal is to just make the same amount that I did as a nurse, so that I don't have to go back, is essentially what that whole thing's about. But that's really like, I'm aiming more for that right now. Obviously I want to be elite and I want our team to be recognized, because I think that we have really good people a part of our team and stuff. But yeah.
Yay, I love it. I do the same thing. I started writing out, I like heard her podcast, Rachel Hollis's podcast. I don't know when she came out with that, but whenever she did, like about the Start Today journal, and I've never bought the journal, but I probably should. But I just write in my notebook like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 every morning, and I like write down 10. I just call them like affirmations, and I'll say like I am an elite coach or a 2-time elite coach, or like, I think it's so funny because I was doing it and then I stopped doing it for like a couple months, and that was when I was really struggling last year to like communicate that I wanted to hit elite. And then I communicated it to our girls, and then everybody stepped up, and I was like, what have I been doing? Like I started writing it again, and then we hit elite, and so I was like, this works, oh my gosh. So now I'm writing it all again every morning. And sometimes I don't want to, but I'm like, it's just like brushing your teeth, Leanna, like freaking do it. Okay, so last question, unless anybody else has a question. I haven't looked at the chat. What's your PD right now? Just curiosity.
Okay, so full transparency, I suck at personal development. Like, I wish I could come on here and tell you that, like, I have read every book on the list. Like, I have a list in my phone every time I see someone post in a team page or like whatever, like I add it to my list, and I have this list of PD books that I just can't seem to finish. And I actually have the 10X rule. So I was in I did an internship group with Carly, like right before I popped Diamond. I was in like an internship group with her, and you were supposed to read the 10X rule in that. So I went to the library, I checked it out, and I still to this day have the book sitting on my bookcase, and I'm afraid to know what the return fees are. I might as well just buy it at this point, but I suck at personal development. So that's where I'm at. However, to get excited about personal development, I had this idea to do a book club. And so I opened it up to like all of my followers. It wasn't just specific to like coaches or challengers. And so again, like wrapping it back up, like when you're passionate about it, you're more likely to do it, right? And you're more excited to dive into it. And so creating the book club was something that made me excited about personal development. And so we're reading Everything is Figure Outable, which is fantastic. Also, I'm just like an OG Rachel Hollis lover. I know it's very general, and I feel like it's the white girl of personal development, but it's good and I love it. But for me, when I think of personal development, like ultimately I think of just like my faith. And I feel like if I'm aligned with my faith, if I'm doing my devotionals, if I'm reading my Bible, like whatever you believe in, right? Like I feel like if you're aligned with that part of you, like for me, that fulfills my personal development cup. And if I don't read a chapter of my personal development book, then that's okay, because I'm still centered, I'm still grounded, I'm still, all that jazz. So yeah, I'm not the best person to ask about personal development.
I'm not the best at it either, but I feel the same with Ashley. Like as long as I wake up and like do my devotional or like Start Today journal, and like those are the two things that I've really found, and that I went back to with this whole like, what did you title it? Relit or whatever. I started, like I got back on my morning routine, because with Lane, like our schedule is just feels like it's never the same, and I was staying up late to do things, which worked for a little bit, but I just feel so much better when I wake up early. So I started to start my mornings that way and try to get as much done, especially invites, before he wakes up, so that I can feel good like going into the day. And this is not even, I'll go back to personal development really fast. Right now I'm reading Everything is Figure Outable because I'm a part of Ashley's group. But again, I'm like, we forgot to even post last week, I think. So we're like really not good at, one of our girls actually reminded us like, hey, can we move to chapter 4? It's taken us like over a month to get to chapter 4. So we're like really not good at it. But instead of like a chapter a day, because clearly I can't, or a chapter a week, I clearly can't do that. So I started like, I'm going to spend 5 minutes reading this book today. And this is what I do every morning now. 5 minutes reading that book, 5 minutes doing a devotional, 5 minutes doing the Rachel Hollis thing, and 5 minutes on an affirmation card, like from Barblend. And that's literally 20 minutes. So it's really like not that long, but you're getting, and I set timers. Like you have to set timers or else you're going to like spend forever doing it. And so I think doing that, I've clearly read more than I did last week just from doing that. So I feel better about that whole situation now. But also a couple books that I love, like anything by Grant Cardone, and which is the 10X rule, and Be Obsessed or Be Average. Leanne, I remember when you were reading that, and it's like amazing. And getting the Audible version is even better than reading the actual book because he's just so passionate and you are like, yes, like I can do this, whatever. So those two books are really good. And then when once you have people that want to build the business, or when you feel like you have time to think about like, okay, if I got somebody on my team, like how would I want to go about mentoring them, or how would I want to go about that whole situation? Build to Last by Keith Callahan. He's a Beachbody coach, which is even cooler about this book because he's talking about it all through like the lens of Beachbody, and he gives you like, he literally he sends you his audio of a mentorship call, and like he sends you exactly what he says for people filling out his form on in his Instagram or wherever his platform is. Like he tells you everything, and just how he talks in the group is all about like leading a team of leaders. And that's what I write down as one of my like 10 dreams or whatever every day, is leading a team of leaders. And just the way that he talks about it, like it's just so good. So that's another book that's awesome. And also like back to the whole morning routine thing, I've never been one for free groups at all, but I just decided to do one this last week because I wanted to get back like my morning routine. So anyways, I made the free group, and I only offered it like through everyone that would basically say no to my invite. I would invite them and behind the scenes. Like I didn't really talk about it that much on my stories. I think at that call, Leanna, did you see where that like his information is on his website for Keith Callahan? Did you know about that?
I don't remember. I think it's in the book. So like if you go back to the book, if you have the book, like look at the chapter, but maybe it's on I think it's just on like his website.
I think it is on his website. So Google his name and search in there, but it's something that he'll like, you put in your email and he'll send it to you or something. But anyways, I started to do this free group, and it was like thrown together. It's not like the greatest thing ever, but I have been inviting like behind the scenes to it, and it's actually really fun. And then I opened it up to my challengers. So like in my weekly email, I put the link in there if like my girls wanted to be a part of it. And I've already had like one girl sign up as a coach because of it. And she literally was telling me like, oh, I need to wait because of, not having school, and because she's a principal or a vice principal. Just with like the whole virus situation, she kept saying like that she needed to save money, blah, blah, blah. And I just kept like talking to her and stuff. But then I invited her to this free group and showed her the community aspect is literally all that she had to see, was that like when you show up, somebody else is there showing up with you. And like, if you guys go to my story today, you'll know which one she is. She talks about her husband or whatever on there, but it's just crazy. Like just doing that group got somebody to really understand the value that we have. And so, like I said, I was never one to do free groups, and I still don't really like them. But this morning routine one, I really like, because this morning, like there is no way in hell I would have woken up unless I had that group going and I had to show up to it. So it's the same kind of with coaching as far as I have to post my workout today, like doing a free group of something, like same with the book club, which we're still not that great at it, but same with like the morning thing too, is that you're not putting that much effort into it. And once you do it once, you can literally recycle it all the time. So maybe thinking about doing that, just as far as like everyone that says no, you can still invite them to something and still get their email, and make sure you save their emails in case Instagram goes away.
So good. So many good things. I could literally like hang out all night with you guys. So fun. Okay, but I'm going to end the call because we went so long. Sorry if you guys were just like waiting for us to be done. You can always just hop off if you have like other commitments. But thank you all for staying and hanging. Everybody have a wonderful night. Bye.